a fantasy Premier League podcast with FPL Haul.
Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you guys are today. So just a quick rundown of what we're going to be going through. We'll have a review of the game week. We'll look at the stats. This is important because when you look at the stats and look at the team setups and the team profiles as well, it helps us look towards the future, obviously. So it's not just picking out what's happening before it's happened. We try and make our decisions based on stats as well as the eye test. So we'll have a look at the things like XG, shots created, chances created, but I also want to look at attacking threats, sides with attacking threats, but also where some teams might be weak. So, for example, a key reason why I've kept hold of Saka is to do with the left side of Bournemouth. So we'll be looking into that as well. We'll think and have a discussion as well about potential rotation in the future where Pep's come out and he's already said Haaland won't be playing every game. So I saw FPL Bailey did a really good, an interesting idea that last season would have worked with 3 subs, but he's brought in Alvarez, the Man City striker, who's I think 6.2 million now. And his argument is, well, to get goals, and I know I don't have the double clean sheet for Man City, but if Haaland doesn't play, I've got his backup. So no matter what, I'm basically going to have Manchester City's starting striker. The issue with that is because it's 5 subs, even if Haaland doesn't start, is he going to come on for the last 20 minutes or is he going to get full rest? So that's a wait and see, but we'll have a think about that. And we'll look through the matches, go through each match and see if there's anything that points out to let us know where a team might be strong or a team might be weak. Plus, any questions that you guys have, put it in the chat and we'll try and sort that out. Try and keep your questions to like an A or B situation, like this transfer or Captain A or Captain B. Don't list out your whole team because that makes it far too difficult. And the final point I want to talk about is the death of the low block and why we're seeing these lower teams, lower league teams, you know, like Fulham and Bournemouth near towards the bottom, but also those middle teams not just sitting back anymore and actually coming out against the big boys and getting results against them. Maybe it's a shock to the system, but we'll have a look, and it has been effective, so maybe it is the end. Hey Andy, welcome buddy. Crazy dude, is it worth Captain Kane as a punt? So we will get on to captaincy. Kane's not a punt. Anyone against a newly promoted side, but the issue that you've got is you've got Arsenal have got a newly promoted side, Liverpool have got a newly promoted side, and Spurs have got a newly promoted side. And if we're judging their attack right now, Arsenal have the best attack, Liverpool, of course, are Liverpool, and Spurs don't have the best attack. So if it was any other week, if it was, I don't know, Liverpool against Wolves away from home, and Arsenal at home to a difficult side like Brighton, then that would be a good week probably to go for a Spurs punt. But if we're looking at a week where literally the best attacking sides have got newly promoted teams, and the ownership, no matter what, guys, Salah or Jesus, if you've got them, they're going to be working against you because by chance their effective ownership is going to be over 100. I don't think it's time for a punt yet. Now, but I'll always add the caveat that if you think Harry Kane is going to get the most points this game week, that's where your captaincy should lie. But if you're just thinking, I think Salah's going to do really well, but should I try for Kane? No, because if Salah goes off at home to Bournemouth and you've had a punt on Kane, a difficult start to the season is going to get even more difficult. We'll just have a look at how I'm setting up for the game week. No transfers made this week. Because I'm being patient, right? Because the players, we all pretty much, let me know in the chat if it's any different, but last week was pretty rubbish for everyone. It wasn't a good game week. And, you know, between what? You've probably got between 30 and 50 points last week, right? So people with a game week rank of like 7 million got 30 points, and people with a game week rank of like 2 million got 40 points. There wasn't a lot in it last week. And when you look at your team and look at the players you've got and the fixtures you've got, so many people have been making big moves, rash moves. Even that James to Perisic is not a move at all I'm interested in. I am not panicking on the Chelsea defence because the fixtures going forward are strong. And if Maddison is out, the key creator for Leicester, he is out. Fofana is out. Tielemans is still having a bit of a sulk. We're going to look at Leicester. Hey, Penguin, how? Good morning, mate. We're going to have a look at Leicester. But if they've not got that spined out, Tielemans is having a sulk because he wants to leave. Fofana looks like he's off as well. And Maddison, the key creator, is out. People have just been panicking. I've seen people taking hits to get rid of Robertson at home to Bournemouth. You can see the fixture ticker. If you take out the Game Week 3 fixture still there, but the Game Week 4 fixture and beyond, you can have a look. So Chelsea have got Leicester, Southampton, West Ham and Fulham. Why am I not going to back the defence for that? Liverpool equally have some really good fixtures coming up. So people panicked after a bad game week, but when everyone's having a bad game week, just, calm it down a little bit. Liverpool have got Bournemouth, Newcastle at home, then Everton and Wolves. And Bournemouth, Everton and Wolves are 3 teams which just are not good at scoring goals. So getting rid of Robertson for a hit, for me, is just, it's not something I would have done. And I'm usually a person who, is an aggressive mover, aggressive plans and transfers and things like that. So when I'm trying to be patient, I'm keeping hold of Saka, and I'm going to explain why I'm keeping hold of Saka as well. But having 3 Arsenal attackers, and they're currently like one of, if not the best attacking team right now, I always think Arsenal can still concede a goal, but to have all 3 of their attackers, I think for me, with the fixtures that they have, Bournemouth, Bournemouth last week, Fulham, Villa, United, Everton in the next 4, to have all their attackers, I think is a sweet deal. Captaincy's on Salah. He's at home. He's against Bournemouth. Fulham, if you want to go Gabriel Jesus, guys, I completely understand. Even Martinelli, I don't think... Fulham have been great as a team, and I'm going to talk about Mitrovic and why I'm keeping hold of him as well. They're really good at attack, but Fulham's defense, and I keep being mean to the likes of Tim Ream, right? But it's leaky. They're gonna concede goals. So if you think Gabriel Jesus is gonna get you goals today, then back him. If you think he's gonna outscore Salah, don't be scared about that. But for me, I can see Liverpool getting a clean sheet, so that already gives Salah an extra 2 points because 1 point and he's my captain, so it doubles, and he gets extra points for goals. So I just think it's going to be so tight between Salah and Gabriel Jesus. So I'm just going to go with Salah because I think he's got a slightly higher ceiling than Gabriel Jesus. And we have a look at how they set out as well against Bournemouth. He's not that much deeper, and we know he had a fantastic game. And on any other day, he could have had a huge haul. But Salah is still way in front of everyone. Darwin is still out, so Salah is still the main man with... Luis Diaz, he drops a little bit deeper. Firmino drops a little deeper, and Salah, with chances created and chances had, he's just still number 1. So let us take a look at some stats. Before I do that, if you guys want to change your character, so if you want a little person at the bottom of the screen, you just have to subscribe. And if you want to change what they're wearing, I don't know how to individually do it. That's my own fault. But if you just put !random, it will give you random hair and random headwear or whatever. And if you want to choose the shirt, so Man City, Arsenal, whatever, type in !color, spelt the American way, and type the name of your team. So let's wear an Arsenal shirt today. Hey, chill, how you doing, buddy? Adrian was thinking the same, crazy dude about Kane, not for me. Right, so let's have a look at some stats. We'll just be pretty brief with this one. Underachiever, you've got Gordon, top of the pops there, not particularly great. Crystal Palace, usually wasteful. Something that stood out for me when I was looking at the overachievers was back-to-back weeks for Souček. Now, West Ham have not started their season very well yet, but this is the 2nd week in a row he's been an underachiever, so he's still a threat in the box. So maybe just keep an eye out on that if it's consistency. Bruno Fernandes, I don't think it's rocket science, guys. No Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes creates like the most chances. And no Harry Maguire, no Cristiano Ronaldo. So you leave like the poor quality or the egos or whatever you want to call it. You leave him on the bench and look at the performance that Manchester United put in. And I knew, and I think we all deep down had a feeling after the results that we saw when Manchester United was against Liverpool, I think we all had a little feeling deep down it was going to be a weird one. After that ridiculous like City Newcastle game, I just thought, well, Liverpool's gonna lose because it's just been one of those weeks. But again, Bruno Fernandes down in price. I think he's 9.9 or 9.8 million, but not playing Ronaldo, and boom, he's creating like the most chances. It's ridiculous. Yates, Son, underachiever. He's usually one of the most clinical players. He had a huge chance that was like 1-on-1. I thought he was a mile offside, and he wasn't. He's just not on it yet. I'm sure he will be, but when you've got big players right now like Salah and Haaland, and you can argue maybe like Gabriel Jesus and people like that, it's difficult to sort of justify that price for someone who's not kicked off yet. Speaking of someone who's kicked off yet, Kevin De Bruyne, again, he's on here. Ruben Diaz and Mitrovic. I kept saying this, guys. So I'll watch the Fulham game. When we get to the Fulham game, I'm going to tell you, seriously, in an alternate reality, Mitrovic is the top scorer. Last game week 2, when he got that -1, he missed a penalty. He scores that, he gets like 8, between like 7 and 10 points or whatever, because of getting a goal and bonus and stuff. And then the game against Brentford, seriously, guys, could have been a hat trick. Should have been a hat trick. And I'm not even joking. Like, he's right behind Palhinha for the goal. He had a huge one-on-one chance. I don't know if you watch matches or if you watch the match full like I did, but he had a huge chance. It was a bad back pass from Brentford. Mitrovic was like it was a bad back pass near like the semicircle or the halfway line, and it gave it to Mitrovic. It's one of those situations where he had too much time. He had so much. He had like 20 yards of anyone else near him, and he didn't put it away. He should have at least got two goals, and he did. He had a disallowed goal as well. So you can see his XG 1.28 here, and he's still underachieved. Now, Fulham have a difficult run of fixtures, and if you could have afforded it and you've gone to the likes of Tony, I genuinely understand that move. But the link is getting better and better with Andreas Pereira and Mitrovic, and at any moment, if the ball is crossed into the box and it's anywhere near Mitrovic, he has the potential to beat anybody in the air. Like, his aerial prowess is way up there. Like, Harry Kane is known for his aerial threat. Mitrovic is one of the best I've seen in the air. It's incredible. Morning all. I think Tony is a great differential captain. Are you crazy? Matt, I did a differential when we got asked about Harry Kane. Not this week. Not when you've got two of the biggest effective ownership players, two of the biggest own players in the game with newly promoted sides at home. It's just not the week. If it was any other week, I would have said yes. But if you think Tony's going to get the most points today, then you back Tony. All right, so let's go down to the players. So again, here's the players with the shots. Just like I said, Mitrovic, top. Most shots last week. He honestly was everywhere. Haaland, we know he had a couple of really good chances. He had a great one-on-one where he used some good strength to get into that one-on-one situation, and one where he sort of he was on like one knee and he took a snapshot and it went just over the bar. Give him a couple more games to get a bit more match fitness, and he potentially gets double digits like almost every game. It's ridiculous. Zaha carrying on his good start to the season, 3 shots with all 3 on target. Mount, top for chances created. Ward-Prowse again ticking along nicely. We can go down here, and then that's it. There's nothing else that stood out when I looked. Looking at teams now, no surprises, Man City, they're top. But again, I told you guys, Fulham concede opportunities. They concede goals. But they had the second most shots of any team. Sorry, the third most, because Everton had more shots but more off target. So 18 shots that they had. When I'm saying that holding on to Mitrovic is not the worst, and when I think Arsenal are a team that can concede, Mitrovic won't get bullied by anyone. He does the bullying, so that's why I've stuck with him. Wolves here, you can see, for chances created, they just can't stick the ball in the back of the net. How they were not leading Spurs at half-time, I'll never know. They just can't stick it in the back of the net. Even with Jimenez back, it's a consistent problem that they haven't solved. The likes of Neto have already gone down a couple of times in price as well. It's just a team that you're just going to avoid right now. Everton here, you can see 15 chances. They were against Nottingham Forest. So again, if you do want to back Spurs against Nottingham Forest, I completely understand. They have a terrible defense, but I think Bournemouth is probably the worst defense. I wouldn't be going there. And Nottingham Forest have signed like 2,000 players. So, you know, they're going to probably become more difficult to beat at some point. Liverpool with chances here and Crystal Palace as well against, I think, Aston Villa side that are just pants. Losing team value for a lot of people, so I won't be going there. All right, so that's it with a couple of stat things I want to look at. 6-game projections. A quick look here. Unsurprising, you've got the two big boys, Alisson and Edison at the top, followed by Ramsdale, Mendy. It's pretty much as you imagine it would be. Pope sneaks up in there. Newcastle's defense looks really, really good, especially when they're not against the likes of Manchester City. But there's no player here. I think it's pretty much in value order. The only one that sticks out here is Meslier, but I just wouldn't be looking for clean sheets from Leeds personally. Having a look at defenders, 6-game projections. When that loads, Trent again right at the top, followed by Cancelo, James, Diaz, surprising out 24.5. So we can have a bit of a rotation chat now. You can let me know what you guys think in the comments in the chat. For me, I always say that I'm going to play the game that's in front of me. And it is good to be proactive. So one of the thoughts I had is I thought, okay, so let's look at Tony. Tony's fixtures. If we just have a quick look, let's go to Brentford. My argument for a potential switch of Haaland to Tony was Tony's going to play 90 minutes every week, right? And he's got Everton, Palace, Leeds, Southampton in the next 4. But Haaland has got, it doesn't matter who Man City play. You back them every single week. But he's got Palace, Forest, Villa, Spurs in the next 4. So my argument would have been like, is Haaland going to play all of these games? And could the potential saving and money spent elsewhere and having Tony instead of Haaland make up for the fact that Haaland's maybe only going to play 3 out of the next 4? Just because Tony's not only just in good form, but those fixtures are so good for an attacker. Now, Crystal Palace away is not easy, but Everton at home, Leeds at home, Southampton away. We're talking about their defenses, not them as a team. So Leeds might score against Brentford, but the game might finish 2-2 and Tony gets 2 goals. That was a potential argument, but I think what FPL Planner, if Tien is still listening, I think the best thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to wait. There's no point in taking Haaland because maybe he's not going to play the games. If we start to see a trend that he plays the match before the Champions League, then the Champions League match, and he misses the match after the Champions League, that's when, we will look to potentially get rid of Haaland. But before it happens, I don't think so. Hey, good morning, Capital. Haaland bench concern can also apply for Kane, right? Right. Yeah. No, it could, because Richarlison could play down the middle now. That's why they've got him. They didn't just get Richarlison to come on for the likes of Son or Kulusevski. They've got him to play anyway. Anywhere. Do Haaland and Saka to Tony and KDB? No, because KDB is going to get rotated just like Haaland is. Hey, chill. What's Sterling's data looking like? He's had 2 goals rolled out. I'm not going to look into him specifically. Chelsea's attack's just not worth it. He has looked promising, but he's far too highly priced for what you're getting. Warden at K out for Sanchez and Doherty for a hit. Wish you luck. Sagnick, you're going to go for Doherty? I wouldn't. I would go. Sagnick, I would honestly be looking at Fofana right now. If you've got nothing to do and you want to make 2 moves and you've got a sub that plays, right? Get him Fofana right now for 4.4 million and just let him sit on your bench for 2 or 3 weeks before Chelsea throw him into the side. Boom, you're ahead of the train. Now, if you need a player, but again, Doherty, is he going to play? That's the problem you're going to get. Fofana won't play until he's at Chelsea, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. But he's going to do it. Hey, Ricky, how you doing, buddy? But get in Fofana in early. If you guys are burning a transfer, you've got nothing else to do at all. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting Fofana in early for 4.4 million. All right, so let's go back. Defenders, again, Perisic is right up there. Notorious, you said about bringing in Perisic for Reece James. Perisic for me is a hold. If you've got him, play him, good luck. But if you've not, no, just because Reece James, if he plays right centre back or right wing back, he's gonna play. I think they need him. Perisic, you just don't know. You don't. There's no one who can sit there right now comfortably and tell me that you think or you know Perisic is going to play the next 3 games back to back. I think Reece James plays 3 out of 4. Perisic could play 1 out of 4 or 2 out of 4. You just don't know. You can get a feeling about Reece James. I can't get that feeling about Perisic now. Saliba, the man who broke my heart. Good morning, Matt. The man who broke my heart. Yeah, sold him on -4. It gets 12 points. But you can see if you're going for a cheap option, you don't go up to the likes of Zinchenko. He's 4.6. He looks like he's starting. He's playing really well. But don't take that stupid screamer he scored with his left foot. Because that's the second ever goal he's ever scored. So look for a cheap clean sheet option. Pretty much when I get Fofana, he might come in for Cucurella. I might go 3 Chelsea at the back just because of that value. For 4.4 million to have a Chelsea centre-back with those potential clean sheets, I think it's an absolute given. All the rest here is what you can imagine. It's Liverpool, it's City, it's Spurs, it's Arsenal, it's Chelsea. Nothing surprising coming out in the projections or the models, except Trippier, but he's way down the list. Fofana's a good shout. You think he offers more than clean sheet points? No, I think he just offers clean sheet points. But for 4.4 million to have a Chelsea centre-back, the value's there. Even if you don't play him, put him as first sub, and if he ends up coming on, it's a 6-pointer. Plus potential bonus if it's like 1-0. Looking at your midfielders, so you can see questions about Sterling. He is projected to be the 3rd best one. This is another reason why I'm okay with my double Chelsea players at the back, because Chelsea as a team are supposed to be strong for the next few games. They've got great fixtures. So when people have been taking big hits out because of one bad week where Leeds just smashed Chelsea, there's no other easier way of putting it, people freak out. But Chelsea's not suddenly going to become a relegation threatened side. So getting rid of the likes of Chelsea is just not for me. Bruno Fernandes, now you can see he is 9.8 million. He's lost 0.2 value. Won't be going there. Too expensive. But everyone else is, as you can imagine, it would be. No one is sticking out here to say, oh, yep, that's someone who I didn't expect to be high up on the list. Someone who I just never get in, but season after season ticks along for his price. 6.5 million Ward-Prowse. When the fixtures change, if you've got nothing else to do with a player, he plays 90 minutes every game, and every so often you know he's going to either get an assist from a set piece or score. That simple. Now, forwards. You guys, I'm not going to show you. I'm going to scroll down for you to see it. Absolutely 0 prizes if you can tell me who do you think the 2 top strikers are. The 2 top strikers projected points for the next 6 games. Just type it in and it'll be exactly who you think the 2 players are. Who are the 2 strikers predicted to get the most points in the next 6 games? Clue, biggest template 2 you could pick. Not Tony. The 2 biggest template players you could imagine, they are the highest projected. Shock, horror. Haaland, Gabriel Jesus. Haaland, I said earlier, once he gets his eye and he gets that match fitness up, he could haul every game, seriously. Like minimum 8 points a game. He's way up, 37.7 predicted. Gabriel Jesus just ahead of Harry Kane. Jamie Vardy, interestingly, there is wrong, in my opinion. And then Tony, if I was to rearrange this, Tony would be 3rd. Tony is a fantastic option. He's looking really hot. And again, when you're looking at players, if you're looking at an attacking player, you don't care about the defense. So Brentford look like they could concede goals, but they'll score 2. And you don't care, right? If you've got Tony and Brentford lose 5-2, but Tony's got 2 goals, you're happy. And just below him, even though now the fixtures, if we come back here to Mitrovic, Arsenal, Brighton, Spurs and Chelsea, they are 4 of the most difficult defences in the Premier League. And I know I'm bigging up Mitrovic here because I've been really impressed with him for the first 3 weeks. But even though he's got those 4 ridiculously difficult fixtures, he is still predicted to be one of the best strikers. To be one of the highest points. That's how much of a threat he's been. Robbo to James if Robbo still disappoints. Fofana boosts James to right wing back. Yeah, if Fofana joins, James should be right wing back. Don't be surprised, guys, if you see a 4-3-3 from Chelsea today, because the players are still not right, and they were much, much better when they went to a 4-3-3. But playing with a 3 at the back with 2 wing backs and having Ruben Loftus-Cheek as a right wing back, I will never understand. Honestly, Thomas Tuchel has done some real weird ideas and plans that have just been bad. And having him as a right wing back and then Gallagher as a centre mid and a midfield too was just awful. Should have been 4-3-3 from the start. Reece James, one of the best right wing backs arguably in the world, and he keeps playing him at right centre back just so he can play Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He's got Azpilicueta sat on the bench, and he's got Chalobah, the young centre back, sat on the bench, who, by the way, every time Chalobah plays, it's like 80% of the time he gets a clean sheet. He has good games, but no, he wants to play Ruben Loftus-Cheek at right wing back. Why? I've got no idea why he's done that. Have you ever tested these predictions? I'd love to know how accurate they are. No, but I would like to actually follow up on that to see if it is the case. I'd have to take a picture and go back to them. But they're just model projections, right? Who's the 3rd best forward in the game? Tony, Mitrovic, Isaac. Tony right now, but Isaac is someone that when Newcastle after they play Liverpool is definitely for 7 million someone I would look at, because they're not signed him just so he can sit on the bench. All right, it's Masna, sell Tomori, bench Chalobah, and then pay him for Fofana. No, yeah, sure. I've got no idea. And they've spent like a country's national GDP on attackers, and he has no idea what to do with them. I can't remember the figure I posted on Twitter. He's spent like 500 million, something ridiculous, on strikers and attacking midfielders, and he hasn't got a clue what to do with them. No idea whatsoever. The amount of money they spend on strikers and then they do rubbish at Chelsea, it boggles my mind. And it just sticks him at Ruben Loftus-Cheek, right wing back. And on the bench, you've got Azpilicueta, who's just signed a new deal, so he's happy to stay. And Chalobah, who's a good young player. No, let's play Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I wouldn't even have him anywhere in my starting 11. So why is putting him out of position in his starting 11? Stumped. Absolutely stumped. Nothing else to say about Thomas Tuchel. And I know he's won the Champions League. Good on him. But just on a small tangent, it's like how I feel about Gareth Southgate. He's got the players to do that for him. I don't think Gareth Southgate is a good tactical manager. He's not. He's made some really bad decisions, and to an extent where we could have done something in the World Cup when we lost in the semi-final, and we should have done better and probably won the Euros. Gareth Southgate is not a good tactical manager. We're going to play left wing instead of up front. Well, he couldn't finish. Could he? All right. So, goal threat. Let's look at some teams with strong attacks. So, again, we talked about Brentford. Talked about Tony's form right now. He has been fantastic. Brentford with 8 goals. No surprise to see Man City and Arsenal all the way up there. Total goal attempts. Again, the only surprise for me here is Everton. But the not surprising fact is they are 6th for total attempts. They've got a goal conversion rate of 4.8. We've said this since game week 1. I think they've signed Morpay. I don't know if that's official yet. My friend who's an Everton fan told me that they've got Morpay. I don't know if it's official yet. But and Wolves. They're like memes, guys. Honestly, like, you could be an armchair fan if you just sit back and say, yeah, Everton, try to walk it in. You know, like from the IT crowd. They're having a laugh. Everton, they try and walk it in. Wolves can't stick it in the onion bag. It's like, if you don't need any kind of analysis to look at Everton and Wolves and think, these cannot put the ball in the back of the net. It's just don't have a striker. Don't have a striker at all. Morpet is official. Okay, thanks, Chill. Yep. I didn't know if it was over the line yet. So he might start. I mean, I don't think Morpet and DCL, when he's fit, is a terrible strike partnership. I mean, it's better than Rondon. I think everyone can agree with that. Surely attempts in the box is better indicator. Yep, it is. Here. And again, nothing is surprising anyone here. So Everton drop way down for those shots in the box. But Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, exactly who you imagine it would be. Newcastle comes up next. But remember, in game week 1, when they had Nottingham Forest was so bad in that. It was just full on one-way traffic. It was the most comfortable clean sheet I had with Trippier that I think I've ever had. At 0 point in the game did I think, oh, Newcastle might concede here. So easy. Crystal Palace doing all right. Again, Fulham not doing too shabby here. They are good. I wish I could look into these inside of the box shots, because I'm telling you, most of them are going to be from Mitrovic. It's like I'm in love with the man. Big chances. Crystal Palace was one that surprised me here. Second for big chances. But then the rest, and again, Fulham, so high up in terms of attack. It's crazy. And that was another reason I just couldn't get rid of Mitrovic. I watched the Fulham games, and he's so key. He's so dominant in the air. He has so many opportunities. And stat-wise, Fulham as an attacking team, defensively, wouldn't trust him. Would not trust him whatsoever. Bad defense. But that Andreas Pereira Mitrovic link is getting tighter and tighter. And those through balls from Andreas to Mitrovic and crosses are getting closer and closer. When those two gel, chef's kiss for the price that they're going to give you. It's like, what is it? 10 million? 10.5 million for that double up. And I always stay clear. I always stay clear of newly promoted sides. Especially with a player like Mitrovic, which we've known for years. Would never go there, but that's how impressive I think he's been. And then going to minutes per chance. So going here, again, no big surprises there. Defending. So why have I kept Saka? I had a free transfer. I could have gone Saka. I don't have 2 Liverpool players. Just before I do this, thank you, Bobby, because I never asked for likes and subscribes. So if I could get some likes and subscribes, that would be very, very, very nice. Thank you. Going back to defending, why I've kept Saka. Free transfer, I've only got 2 Liverpool. I could have gone straight to Diaz, no problems. I could have gone to Kulusevski. I've got 0.5 million in the bank. So Saka's 7.9. I think Kulusevski's 8.2. Could have got any 8 million, 8.3 million, 8.4 million midfielder and below. I could have got rid of Saka. Saka is on the right wing, and their left flank concedes the most crosses, and going to the chances, it goes halfway down. I just think exploiting the left side with Saka playing the right wing, that's the way. That's the reason why I kept hold of Saka. Going into goal attempts inside the box. Surprisingly here, Crystal Palace have allowed the most opportunities inside of the box, but not big chances. So you can see they have let 35 attempts happen inside the box, but only 6 of them have been big chances. Catch up with this. Andrea versus De Silva, who to play? I don't like either of them. When we're having a situation where we're seeing which 4.5, 4.6 midfielder we've got to play, it's not great. I would just go for Andreas because he's going to play. He's looking pretty good, and he's on corners. I think on one side or both sides. And again, he crosses it to Mitrovic, and boom, he quids in. Hey Denver, good morning, mate. Did Son and Diaz to Salah and Rashford will get in Harrison next week? Just hoping to keep up with the template. Yeah, if you want to keep up with the template and split later on, if you can keep up inside like a million and split later, there's nothing wrong with that strategy whatsoever. You bring in Harrison, and I understand that to an extent. The Rodrigo price soar and people rushing to bring Rodrigo in, and I said this last week when I said I didn't agree with Rodrigo. And I said, I bet you he hauls against Chelsea because that's what happens at the minute with me in FPL. But they've got Brighton away. And Brighton are one of the best run, best system teams in the Premier League. And people are rushing to bring Rodrigo in. And when Bamford is back, which I don't think he is yet, then you've got Sinistera trying to get into the side. Just not a move I would have made. De Silva should be a bench player. People think bench him because he scored 2 goals. I agree, and there's no guarantee he starts at all. Hey Rudy, how you doing, buddy? Have KDB or Haaland? This is your dilemma. Which one should you have? That's so close to call. If I was on like a wild card, if I was choosing right now, see if you go KDB, you can get yourself something like a Tony and Jesus and another striker. So I like that layout. But in terms of just getting a player in, Haaland's the key. Haaland's the attacker. Gonna go to Haaland. Not close on that one. So let's just take another look. Manchester United, not surprising, the first couple of game weeks, awful amount. Shots on target conceded. So I said earlier, Brentford concede goals. 18 shots conceded, but Nottingham Forest 21. Bournemouth is here as well. Newcastle, they played Manchester City in an open game, so that one's a little bit skewed. But unsurprising, Arsenal, City, Spurs, and Brighton, fewer shots conceded. The one that did surprise me here was Fulham. But the data that skews that one is the Wolves game, because Wolves attacking them has just made that really low because they're not very good at attacking. What do you think the future template will be? Let's say from game week 8, I can't say what the future template will be because the template will be whatever the previous 1 or 2 weeks have been smashing it, and then the fixtures. Erling will leave your team Sunday. Kane, independent on how he's performed, or a 4.5 striker. Yeah, I'm going to be keeping him. I kept saying once his match fitness is up a little bit, he's so big. He's such a big player, and the chances he's having, he should score 2 or 3 goals again. Big chances conceded. So again, Newcastle are at the top, but they were under pressure against Brighton and, of course, Manchester City. So I'm not worried about Newcastle's defense. They've been really good. And if you're on a wild card, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with Trippier or Shah or Pope as the goalkeeper. I think they're really, really great. Best of the rest for me, Newcastle right now, in terms of teams outside the top 6. They're just getting better and better. Leicester, worrying times at Leicester. No players in. Players want to leave. Nothing's happening there. Brendan Rodgers has just been irritated for the last year or 2. I think they're running out of ideas. They're going to be in big trouble this year if they don't sort that out. And if I was a betting man, if I had to choose who do I think will get sacked or resigns first, I think it could be Brendan Rodgers. West Ham just not getting started. They weren't even bad against Nottingham Forest because they crushed them with XG. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But maybe that'll change. Liverpool with a big surprise here as the 4th team conceded the most biggest big chances. And then Fulham, not surprising because I said about the defense not being great. All right. Just a quick run through then of what the matches looked like. So Manchester United, you can see 2 centre-backs here. Malacia was pushing up forward with Dalot a little bit deeper. Pretty flat midfield there with Alanga and, of course, Rashford as a striker. But I don't think we're looking to invest in Manchester United players. The thing, again, I want to point out about Liverpool, and again, I keep pushing the thread that I did from game week 2. they've got nothing in the middle. There's just nothing there. Now, I said Firmino coming back into the side would be a positive because it would link up the defence and the midfield on the attack. But here's the problem. Look how deep he went against Manchester United. He's behind James Milner. That is not what you want to see from your central striker. Because he kept having to drop deep. Because the key point that I say about Liverpool is when they don't have Thiago and they don't have any quality in depth, their system fails. Now you can see Trent and Robbo are still way up in attack. Diaz plays just a touch deeper than Salah, and then Firmino's the one who drops in the hole. But when you're playing Jordan Henderson, James Milner, and Harvey Elliott as your midfield three, that is not a good midfield three. I'm sorry, but it's not. Now, usually where Henderson is, that would be Fabinho as the CDM to get the ball, and he's a good passer on the ball. So if Fabinho's in that midfield three, that's much better. But when you're playing Henderson, Elliott, and Milner, that ain't good. Not because I'm saying they're bad players, but creatively, they are not high vision, high creative output players. And that means if I was a manager playing against this Liverpool side, it's incredibly simple. All I have to do is stop Trent and mark Robbo. That's it. So Firmino has to drop deeper because they need a bit of creativity in there. Manchester United or any team that they're against, their central defensive midfielder could pick up Firmino because that's how deep he's gone. James Milner, I'm not scared of him. I'm not scared of James Milner being an attacking player against my side. I'm scared of Mo Salah. I'm scared of Trent. I'm scared of Robbo. I'm scared of Diaz. Everyone else, we can deal with them. So coming into the midfield, there's no quality. So if it's Fabinho, who's a great passer, good on the ball, great CDM, and Thiago, now we've got problems because they can attack us from the right, attack us from the left. Thiago and Fabinho can play some lovely balls to the wing or down the middle or wherever. And Firmino doesn't have to drop that deep. You know, he can be more like where Carvalho is, right? Just ahead of where Milner is on the screen right now. And that means that Thiago, if he's in the middle, he can pass it back to Fabinho. He can flip it out to the wings. He can find Salah and Diaz, or he can find Firmino in front, and they can pass it in a 1-2, give it to Firmino. He gives it out to the wing. So the lack of midfield depth, of quality, of creative players, that's the huge problem with Liverpool right now. Because all they have to do is mark Salah, keep an eye on Diaz and Robbo on the other side, and just let Trent cross the ball. If you're a team that's good defensively in the air, think of Brighton, for example. You just let Trent have the ball and say, all right, cross it. Dunk, header away. Veltman, header away. Thank you very much. Who's he going to cross it? Mo Salah's not going to beat Dunk in the air. So Thiago's still a few weeks away. Maybe if Fabinho comes back in that midfield three, that's better. But if you're seeing midfield three of Henderson, Elliott, and Milner, it's not going to be a high-scoring game for Liverpool. It's a huge problem that they have right now. And it's great that Klopp is giving some game time to some of the young players and he's not itching to go out there and get a centre midfielder. But if he wants to challenge for the Premier League and the Champions League and the FA Cup and the League Cup, you need quality and depth. If you're looking at Man City's bench, right, they can bring on Foden or Grealish or Bernardo Silva or whoever's on their bench for that game week. Even when the likes of Kante and Kovacic are back, Chelsea's got depth. Arsenal, Martinelli's not having a good game. Smith Rowe comes on. Liverpool have no quality in depth at all. Even Spurs have gone out there. Richarlison's not a starter, but they've gone and spent, 60 million on Richarlison to come in and to offer them something else. Liverpool have nothing in the middle. And I just can't. They've gone out and bought Darwin, which I understand. I personally would have been more than happy to just stick with Firmino, Diaz, and Salah and bulked up my midfield. Instead, no. And every single time Thiago is not in that Liverpool side, it feels like they've reduced 50% of their potential for goals. So I've no idea why they've not gone out and got themselves a centre mid. And I'm not even suggesting that they go out there and spend 100 million on Jude Bellingham. I'm not even suggesting that they go that crazy. But when Manchester United owners are complaining about not bringing players in, Liverpool, they've got Darwin, but without that quality and depth, and Thiago's injury prone, it's going to be a real problem. Okay, Liverpool rent done. They're still not very good in attack. The numbers are still there, but you watch the game, and if you're the opposition against Liverpool, you just let Trent cross the ball and you just pick up all the other men in the middle. Newcastle City. Now, I said a segment on this was the death of the low block. Now, something I've noticed when I look at these screens is, can you see how tight and compact Newcastle's formation, average position formation is here? It's so effective. So in the past, when a big team plays against a small team, and again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Newcastle and say they're a small team, but Man City are the champions. They're going for 3 in a row. They are supposed to be better than Newcastle. In the past, they would low block. Now, if you don't know what that is, that basically means that, take their entire team and push it back towards their own goal, right? So number 5, Shaw, number 4, Botman, they would be more like just outside the 18-yard line, and all these guys would move back towards the goalkeeper, right? That's a low block. You stay back, hold it, and hope to get a counter attack. What they do now is that they give width away, and they just keep it compact in the middle. Because similar to what I was saying about Liverpool, these teams are usually pretty good at getting a bit rough and getting aerial challenges in, right? So you've got Botman, you've got Shaw. They're good defenders in the air. There's not a weakness there, in my opinion. So these teams can be compact, press hard in the middle, and then say, okay, I'll force you wide. What are you going to do? Cross it? Not a problem. Cross it then. It's more difficult to score from a cross than it is from letting them come down the middle and do a through ball through the middle. So what's happening now is you'll see that they'll push it and they'll compact the middle here. So they just, if you cut the pitch into thirds, it's like perfectly in the second area. So they don't go back in their own third. They're not pushing hard in the opposition third. They're keeping that middle third and they're compacting it. And every single time you've got the ball with your defenders, they're pushing you out. They're attacking you. And you can't go through the middle. You can't overrun them down the middle. So you have to go wide and try and find something from the wing, which is more difficult than doing it centrally. And then, if they win that ball back in the middle of the park, that's when they explode forward. And because they're not that deep, they're giving those big teams more of a problem. Because in the past, when all of these players are towards their own goalkeeper, they've got to leg it across all the way down to the other side of the pitch. Now, if they realize that if they apply pressure in the midfield and win it, they can explode only half the pitch. And that's why big teams concede him more. You'll see, but now unfortunately, Bournemouth still do low block. So again, when I'm leaning towards Liverpool, they're going to sit back. They're still doing a low block. But the teams that are a little bit more ahead, that aren't really low in the Premier League, but they're not one of the big teams like Newcastle, you'll see them sit in the middle, high press in the middle, concede a little bit of width, and then explode. Newcastle, Saint-Maximin on this side, absolutely targeted Kyle Walker and the right side of Man City. But the key for Newcastle was the middle. So even though they kept giving it to Saint-Maximin down the side, attacking Kyle Walker very, very often, the fact that you can see Kevin De Bruyne, Haaland, and Gundogan were so advanced that when they used Bruno, Willock, and at times Wilson dropping back, but also here Joe Linton, they overran Man City in the midfield and then attacked them through the middle against Diaz and Stones, and they couldn't deal with it. So it was interesting that it looked like that they were always attacking Walker down their right side, but it was their attacks through the middle with the Bruno, Joe Linton, and Willock trio going up against Rodri and overrunning the middle. Because Man City want to attack. They're the better team, so let's get the ball up. Have Kevin De Bruyne playing more advanced, but actually having a compact midfield, overrun their big players of Gunnar1 and KDB and attacked Man City down the middle. And it was really effective because big teams like Man City and Liverpool, they don't go compact and they don't low block because they are the quote bigger team. So they think that they'll have more possession and they'll do better. So it feels as though now that if you've got a big team like City and Liverpool and they're against a mid-table team with a bit of talent like Newcastle, expect goals getting conceded because the big team thinks they're going to dominate. The little team gets compact in the middle and explodes on counter-attack, and they can punish you now. I feel as though the mid-table teams, with the signings some of them have made, are becoming a real threat and can score against any team. West Ham Brighton, not a lot here. Just talking about West Ham earlier, they've not kicked off yet. They're just not going. Maybe they need a couple more players to freshen things up a little bit. They have signed Emerson. They have signed Scamacca, the striker, but something's still not ticking with them yet. I'm sure they'll come good though. And then looking at Brighton, again, there's just triangles everywhere. The system of Brighton is top notch. That's why they can lose the likes of Basuma and Cucurella, because the system worked. The tactics that Potter drills into this team, and we've seen it with teams before, where there is no real standout superstar player to grab the game by the bootstraps and get the goals. That's where Brighton fall down sometimes, because when the like against Newcastle in Gameweek 2, when they push in to try and get the ball in the back of the net, and they don't have that superstar player, that extra little bit of quality, that's where they fall. But they rely on the system. They rely on, okay, this player might not be able to score at this opportunity, but because they fit in with the rest of the system so well, that's how it works. So the problem with Darwin as a Liverpool player is he is your out-and-out clinical poacher. Sit him in the 6-yard box, get the ball on his head, or first-time shot, it's a goal. But that's not how Liverpool play. They've played with a false 9 for years. With Firmino, right? So Brighton's argument is, well, if I'm playing Danny Welbeck, he's playing pretty well. He's not that clinical. That's probably why we don't score as many as we like. But Danny Welbeck does the other things in the system, which is great. He does great link-up play. His work rate is very high. He's good at laying it off to his teammates. So if they go out there and get a superstar striker who can finish the ball, but he doesn't have the work rate, he doesn't have the link-up play, that's where Brighton would fall. So they stick with the system and find players perfect for their system rather than getting that clinical striker. And it's working. Just like if I was choosing teams that impress me, Brighton is way up there. They're ahead of Newcastle because Newcastle have got a lot of money to spend. Brighton don't do that. They've been excellent. Hit the like button for a green arrow this week. I would like a like and subscribe, but not for a green arrow because I need a green arrow. You all can have green arrows, just not as green as mine. That would be lovely. Because I am having a stinker of a start. All right, Leeds and Chelsea. So, just want to zoom in here. This is the Leeds one. This is Aronson. And you can see just this other little circle under. It's not a 3D shape. There is another player there, and it's Rodrigo. All right, so that's Rodrigo is like on the toes of Aronson. What can we say about this? Well, first, Chelsea's shape was fine. This is going to be skewed, just like it was against Spurs, because they changed formation. So you can see it's Thiago Silva and Koulibaly as the two centre-backs, and Reece James looks like he's a right wing-back. But that's because he changed to a right-back, so the shape looks good. You can see Ruben Loftus-Cheek is central, because in the second half, they switched to a 4-3-3, so it's difficult to learn a lot about looking at the formation. But looking at the game itself, just Conor Gallagher in the middle, woeful. Ruben Loftus-Cheek as a right wing-back, clueless. I'm not actually blaming Ruben Loftus-Cheek for that because he ain't a right wing back. That's completely Thomas Tuchel's fault. Completely. Try keep questions to like A or B because it's too difficult to do like a full squad list. Harrison more skewed than Rodrigo. Rodrigo's going to keep playing because of form, but if Rodrigo's form drops, I think he'll miss out, and Harrison will probably still play. But I just wouldn't be getting any Leeds players in. I just think they're on a good run, but they're against Brighton away. Just not for me. Should you keep Robertson? You have Liverpool double defence. You can buy James or Cucurella or Perisic. Abdullah, they've got Bournemouth at home. I can't advise selling Robertson before Bournemouth at home. Hey, good morning, James. So, as we can see from Leeds, lots of subs coming on. It was a good performance. Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel's tactics. We talked a lot about Chelsea at the start. I'm still not worried about them. I've still got James. I've still got Cucurella. Cucurella was way advanced. He had probably about 2 chances where he should have done better and potentially scored. He is, for 5 million, a great option. Reece James was at right wing back, one of the best in the game of FPL. What I said earlier about teams being compact and not having a low block, that's not the case. What I said earlier about Bournemouth. It's just jointed. The defense is far too deep, and any big team against them, they're going to struggle. It's going to be bad for Bournemouth. They've been really unlucky. Man City, Arsenal, and then Liverpool this week. Even with Liverpool potentially starting Milner, Henderson, and Harvey Elliott, that's not going to be a problem against this side because Bournemouth just aren't good enough. Sorry, Bournemouth. Should you do Haaland to Kane so you can get tribute to Perisic? I wouldn't, I don't think. Trippier's going to be fine, man. Aren't they against Wolves today, who can't score? So Trippier could get a clean sheet. So you've been playing Alvarez this game 1. Do you think he'll score in 2022? I think he will score at some point, but God knows when. So in terms of Bournemouth, just avoid them. Not very good. Target them. In terms of Arsenal, you can see Martinelli is way up there. I said earlier about Gabriel Jesus dropping a little bit deeper, but this is just a domination play. They dominated possession. They completely dominated the game. Should have been arguably more than 3-0. But again, people worried about Saka having to help down the right back slot for Ben White. He's the second most advanced player for Arsenal. So when I'm holding on to Saka and he's got these great run of fixtures, again, it's a real shame that Saka sits there and he's watching Gabriel Jesus haul, he's watching Martinelli haul, and he's watching Ødegaard haul, and he's like getting 3 points a game. It sucks, but you just got to hope that quality shines through, and I'm sticking with him because the fixtures are so good, and he is in that starting 11 for Arsenal, and I think it'd just be madness to sell him before the run of fixtures. And I like having all three. Arsenal have got one of the best attacks in the league right now, statistically, and when you watch the games themselves. He just needs maybe a little bit more link-up play with White and Gabriel Jesus, and he should be inside the points again. You think it's a good punt? Oh, you're talking to Reese. He's talking about me. So in terms of Saka, I want to give him another 2 weeks because the fixtures are there. And we know he's got the quality. He was so good last year. And if you can get some of that form that he's got from last year, why would I sell him? Leicester, Southampton, 2 teams that can't defend. This is what I was saying, both of them. So what I'm saying about they're not doing low blocks and we're getting these compact teams, you can see both of them have done the same thing. Really compact here from Southampton, really compact here from Leicester, because both of them know they'll concede goals. So when you're against a team that you think will score against you, you don't do a low block, you do this compact one. Unfortunately, there were 3 goals in this game, and it's not a surprise. So when it came back to what I was saying earlier about the lower teams like Bournemouth still do the low block, but these mid-table sides or lower mid-table sides, they don't do the low block anymore. They do this compact middle third, and they hope to pressure the middle, be able to counter-attack, and then probably still concede goals because they know they're going to concede goals. Hey, Shway, good morning, buddy. Matt, this is a great stream. Do you still do scout bits? Scout, I would still do scout streams. It used to be on a Monday night, my time Monday night, but if you guys didn't know, I've got my daughter and I take care of her, my little baby. So I can't do Mondays. I could only maybe do some Saturdays. So that's why I'm still, all of these things that you can see on the screen are from Scout. I'm still, if there's a chance for me to go on, then I go on. But it's just, I can't at the minute. Monday to Friday, I've got work and I come home, I take care of my baby. So it's just not viable for me to do it. 5.5 mil at the minute. Team actually looks good, but not forming. Do you think sack off Alvarez before game week 8 will card? The thing is, Alvarez is like 6.2 million. You've got 5.5 million in the bank? I'd be looking at Tony, man, if you haven't already. All right, so good examples here. Teams that think they might concede, they're not doing a low block, they're doing a compact middle. All right, going on to, again, not as compact, but you can see Fulham came out of the gates out on fire against Brentford. Absolutely rope-a-dope, stunned them on the ropes here. But they've got a good shape. You can see 4 at the back there with the 2 centre mids here and this kind of arrow attack. Tony is a buy. He's an easy buy, guys. If I had the money, arguably I would have done Mitrovic for Tony because of the fixtures and because of the form. So if you're leaning towards should you get Tony in, I can't recommend him enough. I know he's got Palace next week, but the other three out of the 4 games for Brentford and for Tony are prime attacker potential. I'm just not going to do Haaland to Tony. I'm not. No. Man City is Man City and Haaland is still playing. I can't go against Haaland because one slip here and my 4.8 million rank goes to 10 million rank or whatever. Not for me. So in terms of this, I've already talked a lot about Fulham today. Andres Pereira is right next to Mitrovic. Their link is getting stronger and stronger. Attacking wise, great. Defensively, the shape is fine. The quality is just not there. You've got Tosin here and Tim Ream. Both of them have been in Premier League. Both of them have been relegated before. If you're going to target... So if you're going to target a side, so when I talked about Arsenal and why I'm keeping all the Saka, Robinson's the weak link here. He's defensively probably the weakest one. And Saka against Robinson is a nice, really nice player you want to see attacking. Brentford all round, good team. Wouldn't be investing in a lot of them. The other player I said is Mbeumo because he plays up front with Tony and I think he's 6 million. So he's like the cheapest starting striker you can buy. So I don't think he's a bad option if you've not got the money. But Tony is by far and large, he's clear. He's a great option. He's easy top 5 choices to bring in this game week. You think Perisic to Trippier, Kane to Haaland in the long run? In the long run, yes. Knee jerk this week to bring in Foden and Diaz for Pereira and Son for my fault. Bad idea. Yusuf, I wouldn't have done that because Son's about to play against Nottingham Forest. And Foden, you don't even know if he's going to start. What's your thoughts on Audi joining F1 for 2026? It depends on the budget and it depends who they get to drive. But I'm for getting another team in there. We just don't need another German-based side pumping millions and millions in and dominating for the next 10 years. Is a 3-5-2 with KDB and Tony better than a 3-4-3 with Gundogan and Haaland? See, now, yeah, Rudy, that's a situation where that structure of KDB and Tony, I prefer over Gundogan and Haaland. Because Gundogan, I just don't know if he's going to play, but he's in such good form right now. It's a really tight call, but Tony's next 4 fixtures are so good, it's hard to go against him. Everton, Forest. This is a game of, hello, I cannot score. Just bad. It just wasn't good. The quality's not there. These 2 teams are going to struggle. We ain't going to invest in them. We've got Williams sat on our bench because he's 4.1 million now. He's a 4.1 million attacking defender. And he was priced like that because he was at Liverpool. I have no idea, guys, why Dean Henderson has gone up in price. Whatever. I'm not expecting any clean sheets there. They're against Spurs. So people have bought him in and he's about to play Spurs. Okay, fine. Said earlier about Morpay signing for Everton, but just pish. Absolutely pish. That's Scottish for rubbish. I think someone asked earlier about if Gordon goes to Chelsea as an option. No, because he's going to be a massive rotation risk. And I know he's cheap, but, you know, you can get 2 good Chelsea defenders and then maybe get him. But every single week, you're not going to want to start him. So what's the point in having him? Crystal Palace, impressive so far. You can see the difference here. Again, look how you've got triangles and double ups in so many places. It's just... the support everywhere. Look at Aston Villa. You've got 2 here. It's Buendia and Ramsey and Luca Dean on the overlap. disjointed. Gerrard's record as Villa manager is poor. They look poor. I wouldn't go as far as saying I would target Aston Villa, but I would absolutely have none of their players in my side. And they're all dropping in value by like 0.2, just not for me. Palace, on the other hand, Zaha has been fire. Again, I think he's gone up in price as well. They're about to play Manchester City. Okay, fine. But I said, I think, on last week's stream, and I've said for a few weeks about Palace being the 5th best defense from last year. And last year, they were the only team to play Man City twice and concede 0 goals. So maybe it's going to be the same again this season. We'll have to wait and see. But I thought it was pretty interesting. And then Spurs and Wolves. Wolves, again, you're not investing in this team. They can't keep clean sheets. They can't put the ball in the back of the net. It's an avoid. I think they'll be fine. They'll be a mid-tables team. But there's nothing there for FPL that makes you think, oh, I want that. Coming back to Spurs, I say this all the time about Conte's tactics and his formations. It just looks so pretty. You know, you've got your 3 centre-backs here. You've got Sanchez, you've got Dyer, you've got Davis, who's a little bit more, you can see it's a diagonal line here. But then you've got Bentancur and you've got Højbjerg as your 2 centre midfielders. They go back and they help Dyer if needed. Now, in this situation, you can see they're a bit more spread out. If we compare to the Chelsea game, which I'll do now, those pairings are still there, but when they are on the attack, the right wing back doesn't have to help the right centre back like they do against the big teams. So if that just loads in a minute. So against big teams, you can see Royale's here and Perisic is all the way up here. When they're against a quote bigger side, Royale drops back and helps out Sanchez. Perisic, or whoever the left wing back is, drops and helps Davis. These two don't move. Every week they're here to break up the play, get it back, and spread it out to the wing backs or to Kulusevski, the wingers, Kulusevski or Son. So you can see this is what I mean, this side. So Royale helps out Romero, the right centre back, right wing back. Left centre back, left wing back help each other out, and these drop just a little bit deeper to help Dyer if they need. Son was just way deep against his Chelsea side. Going back to this one, when they're against a more attacking team, so against Nottingham Forest this weekend, this is something similar you'll see. Bentancur and Højbjerg can push a little bit up because the defense isn't under that much pressure, and then that allows Perisic and Royale, or whoever's left wing back and right wing back, to get further up the field because they're on the attack, and that means you've got this normal looking Kane just ahead of Son and Kulusevski. So I'm the manager of Strikers, Keepers, Losers, Weepers team, and some of the players that I've started and made my strikers and like captains this week are FPL managers with Spurs players in their side, because Nottingham Forest aren't great defensively, and when the favourites for a game, when they're on the attack, overloading with the wings with Royale, Perisic, Son and Kulusevski on one side, and Højbjerg and Bentancur can go down the middle, and Harry Kane. You still want to see Harry Kane dropping deep, which he does far too often. Far too often. Right, so I think that is pretty much everything. Just a final look at my team then. Again, rolling the transfer, so I'll go into next week with 2 free transfers. It's too late to plead patience now because it's deadline day and the deadline's in less than 2 hours. But it was really surprising to see a lot in the community taking hits to get rid of Robertson and Chelsea defenders just because of one crazy game week. It was a crazy game week for everyone. So I'm not too sure why people went ahead and did that. I've got 10 out of 11 players are at home. Mitrovic is the one I'm expecting nothing from this week, but everyone else I'm hoping to get a little bit of something from this week. So I think that's going to be it. What is your opinion on Fofana? Really, I said ages ago at the start of the stream, Fofana is, if you've got nothing to do, would easily be getting him. Should you sell Neto and keep? I would sell Neto. I agree, Gordon's attacking ability is not great. You think you should have Kane and Perisic for the long run in a wild card? Maybe. It depends what the rest of your team looks like. For the long term, I'm not going to recommend Perisic. I don't have Perisic, so I can't recommend him to other people because don't think he's going to start every game. Good replacement for Neto. I personally like Almiron with Newcastle, but that's my own opinion. There's not great options for, what is he, 5.3 million now? 5.3 million less. Rubbish options. You think Chelsea can see it again, but hold tight? Yeah, I'm holding tight. If there's no Fofana, there's no Tielemans, and there's no Maddison, where are the goals? Where's the creativity coming from? Alvarez will get 10 minutes to score Haaland. You wish James lead the Leicester and very attacking teams? Yes, but I don't believe in their quality. What about Kulusevski for this game week? Yes, I think he's a good option. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining today. There should be at least one video out next game week. And again, next Saturday, again, 8 o'clock-ish in the morning UK time, will be stream time. Good luck with your game week, guys. Follow me on Twitter at FPL Haul. Leave a like and subscribe if you have enjoyed today's stream. I hope you have. And yeah, great to see you all. New faces and old. Thank you very much, guys. And have a good one. Catch you later. Good luck. Don't forget to set your captains and make your transfers.